Hey, what's up? It is the Ace Michael Show. I'm Ace Michaels. And hey, guys, thank you for joining, sharing, liking, supporting, doing that damn internet thing that you do to make the show so popular and successful. We really couldn't have done it without you. We're going into our eighth season, I think. I don't even remember. That's partially being old and that's partially not remembering. But anyway, we're going into our new season in the fall, and I was just thinking about all of the times that you guys have been so supportive, and we really appreciate that. If you ever want to be a guest on the show, all you have to do is just send us a message, say, hey, I want to be on the show, talk about whatever you want to talk about, get it off your chest. You can speak your mind, voice your opinions, suggestions, convictions, beliefs, ideas, dreams, prophecies. You know who you are. And that's what's up today. Dun, 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 dun. My guest on the show is Mesha, and she comes from a very interesting background. We've been trying to get her on the show for a long time. Sometimes you have to literally kidnap these people to get them on the show, especially when they're as busy as Mesha is. Welcome to the show, Mesha.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Uh,
You're
what's
very
going on in the
energetic
world?
today.
What'd you say?
Oh, I said you're very energetic today on your show. I like that.
Oh yeah, energy's good. Positive energy is good. You
It,
know, I hate to run into those people who are like, you're like, hey, how's it going? Oh man, I got cut off on the freeway, and then this lady. It's like, whoa. You know what I mean? Just keep it
it's called
positive.
life.
Yeah, keep
Life
it
goes
positive.
on.
You need all that. Anyway, so Misha, what are you up to? And tell us a little bit about where you came from, because you kind of popped into my world as a surprise, but I'm sure you came from somewhere.
Yeah, I came from all kinds of places. No, basically, I retired from public life in 2004, 2005. Then I came out of retirement in 2013 to uh, uh, do some business and help some kitties be getting some new homes. I started a nonprofit called Help San Diego Ferals,
Oh wow.
and cat rescue turned into America's #1 talk show network with my IMS system building AdWords for Google.
No, you had me glued in at the beginning, and then you lost me real quick. You said you left public
Uh-oh.
life. How does somebody lose? How do they leave public life? What do you mean? You left public
Retired.
life? What? I'm trying
It's
to do that
called,
right now. Shit. What? How do you lose?
well, I was always in the background of ecclesiastic media and politics. So I always did contracts for people, and before there was email and before there was video, there was what they call faxing.
Right,
So
right.
back in the day,
Go
you
figure.
had a different form of communication, and it's usually the people that are the backgrounds of people, great people, the
Right.
Kufan and Jimmy Carter, and just the great people in life. They have architects and they have builders in builders of industry and the infrastructures, and that's how I always worked. Although I went into public life for a while first, just learning more about media, and of course politics has a lot of public life. Ecclesiastics usually don't, but it just again depends on who you're dealing with. But so yeah, so I came out of retirement for Help San Diego Ferals and the ABCs of Financing, which is a micro lending asset consulting firm. So I learned how to build assets and infrastructures to industries.
And when you were doing this work with the politicians, like, were you actually on the cabinet? Were you employed to work with Jimmy Carter?
No, I usually volunteered. I had a company called the New World Religion Foundation, which was going to be part of the World uh, Council of Churches, but
Oh,
they
wow.
dissolved it when I was a girl, and
Right.
that didn't help. But even though in '98 or '89, excuse me, the Anglican Church allowed women to be priests, so I was trying to get into there
You
through that
know,
way.
yeah, that's a show I want to do. That's probably the next show I'm going to do. I want to do a show about sexism in the church. Like, man, it's 2020, and most churches are very, what's a good word to say? I'm going to say ass backwards. That's the word I'm going to use. Most churches are ass backwards about their policies on letting women join the clergy You know, and it's like you'd let a pedophile join your clergy before you'd let a woman join you. Like, what are you doing? Like, what's really going on? But anyway, I
It's
digress.
doubt.
That's
It's
not what we're talking
doubt,
about
my
today.
friend. It's doubt, Ace. It's doubt.
Well, okay, so let's talk about just briefly. I don't want to digress on the whole thing because I know you're here to talk about some other stuff. But
Oh, I don't.
what are they so afraid of with women? Like, what is a
Should
woman gonna do in there that you know what I'm saying, that the priest can't do?
Well, and it's also tradition. You got to remember it's a very traditional patriarchic system. And again, you can't get mad at the people that were grown up in the system. Um,
I
you got
can't.
to circumnavigate the systems.
No, I can
So
get mad at them.
very patriarchic, then you got to think of the, the Deborahs of the world, the Judiths of the world, the Rebeccas of the world. And of course, Queen Esther's and the monarchy of the world that were did put their foot in the door. But it's, I always tell people women get kind of the shaft ended of it because women are hated by both men and women, and usually men are helped by men and women. So it's one of those
That's a
societies.
good, you know what? That's a very good point that you make. I never thought of it that way, but yeah, I can see that. I could.
Yeah, they
I,
have a a double standard women do for men. It's one of those things they say, if you're a poor woman, you look for a man. If you're a rich woman, you don't want one.
right. That is a whole nother show. But I just was thinking about this a couple of days ago. This is just in my personal thoughts. It wasn't like part of a show or anything. But I was thinking, 2020 is actually, it's a good time to restart some of these old habits that we're hanging on to. Like the thing about the statues. I don't particularly have a problem with the statue, but I get that. Okay, it would remind you of a bad time, and then you carry that energy around. But I feel like, yeah, why not? Why not just get rid of those statues, and why not make new statues? Why not make new statues every 10 years? What do you need statues around for hundreds of years? Really? A statue, a monument? And if we're going to take these statues down, we might as well start with South Dakota and get rid of Mount Rushmore, because if I was a member of an indigenous society, every time I open up my window, I got to see these four white guys on a mountain staring back at me. That's got to be offensive. So we might as well sandblast the hell out of that and put, SpongeBob SquarePants or somebody up there. You know what I mean?
How about this? Try, because that's a negative thought. So why don't we do positive thinking and say, okay, well, Mount Rushmore can exist, but let's build some more. Let's build some more
okay.
monuments for those
I'm for that.
people who deserve a mention in the world.
I'm for
First of
that.
all, so
And by the way, I said that negative thought as with the most positive intention that I could. Like it wasn't it wasn't meant to be 100% negative.
not
Okay, so
you could also do, there's a lot of freedom in structure. So
yes, that
are you
is
there?
yes.
Okay.
We have
So
a little bit of a bad audio connection. I'm going to try to work through it as best I can, but we do have an audio issue. So some of the things are not working.
That's cool.
Okay.
We're
So
just
okay.
chit-chatting
So
anyway.
don't let me run my mouth too much. So you were doing that, and then somehow I was introduced to you through the Talk of San Diego, which is a bold title, by the way. You guys represent the entire Talk of San Diego. That's saying a lot.
Well, we actually America's #1 show on America's #1 talk show network. So we have 9 markets, and we're building 35 channels. So we're a lot more than San Diego, and it's a network. So we have different niches and different countries and different languages, and we're expanding into humanity on June 30th. Humanity Day. We're making a holiday for humanity, and doing our part to for community to make it more positive. Ace, by the way, I have a question for you. Can I ask it?
If you can just let me ask this one real quick before we lose the topic. Now, did you co-found or found or build the
I
Talk
built
Network, or did you
Oh,
join it?
No, I met a guy named Johnny Nevada who created the words "The Talk of San Diego" as a title to a TV series that was canceled in 2016. Since that's when we met, right? A couple
Mhm.
of years ago, like 4 years ago, when I wanted to let him produce "The Talk of Las Vegas," which you were in Vegas at that time. What happened to you?
What do you mean? What happened to me? You talking to me? What do you mean? What happened to me?
No, I know. I meant
Ain't
why
nothing
did
happened to me, Mama. I'm on the phone right now. What you talking about? What happened to me?
no? Was Las Vegas now? You in LA or what? What's going on with that?
Well, people don't stay stationary. Since we met, I've been in more places than
No,
those two. You know.
that's cool. I just
Yeah, just okay. But you were going to ask me the question, and then I just wanted to get that out because I wanted the listeners to know, like, where you stood with the development of that talk network. So now they understand. Okay, so you were going to ask me a question.
yeah, I bought the name the talk is at TBCs.
Oh man, you got to
I'm
ask.
doing net marketing systems and build infrastructure to industry. So it's people spend time, money, and people.
You're going to have to ask me your question again because the audio was just. We're going to have to edit it, but the audio was just horrible right there. So let me lead in. So
Okay.
you have a question. So you have a question for me, Mesha?
Yeah, I said, oh, yeah, I always wanted to know why do you call yourself Ace and not clubs, diamonds, or hearts?
My stage name Ace was given to me. It wasn't my choice, actually. I years ago, when I was starting off in the music business, I was going to open mic nights, and there was a old man that was on the stage. He was a very popular guy in that community, so he got to pretty much do and say whatever he wanted. And I was waiting to go on stage. Now, for singers who are getting started with this business, you got to understand when you go do an open mic, you're going to be waiting for hours. So I had shown up there probably at 9:30, at 10 o'clock, and by midnight or later, I still hadn't gotten to perform. So I was antsy backstage, and I was kind of trying to cue this guy, like, "Hey, I'm next, I'm next, I'm next," while he's on the stage. So instead of introducing me as Gerald, he said, well, he goes, I'm going to sing another song and then I'm going to bring Ace up on the stage. And then I was really pissed. I was like, who the hell is this Ace, bro? I've been waiting here. Like, I signed up, I put my name on the sheet, and you're going to be like, Ace? Go, I don't know, nobody know who Ace is. Why, So I was really, really, really upset. And so after he finished the song, then he motioned to me to get on the stage. And I'm like, me? I thought Ace was singing. Where's Ace? And so anyway, so I did my performance piece. And after that performance, I thought, he called me Ace. That's a name people aren't going to forget very easily. I kind of like Ace. Like, people aren't going to remember Gerald Michaels. They're going to remember Ace Michaels,
Oh,
you know? So I remember thinking it was going to upset my mom. So I took my time. I took her to dinner to explain to her that I was going to change my name on stage to this pseudonym. And all she said was whatever. She didn't care. Yeah, hey, whatever. So but Ace became the moniker that people do remember me by, and it was worth it for show business. I mean, you want to have a name that people are going to call you back. So Ace Michaels was the one that I thought more people will go with that. They'll you
that
know.
makes good sense. That's a good marketing guy. So you do have a brain behind that gorgeous look of yours.
Oh, you're wonderful. Thank you for saying that. What's interesting is I spell my last name, I invert A and E. So my last name I spell EALS, which is actually wrong if you're spelling the name Michael. I did that when I started adopting the name because I figured, well, this way everybody's got to memorize my name. We used to write things with a pen and a paper a lot more than we do now. So my thought was every time
That's
somebody,
my friend.
yeah, I thought, well, now anytime someone needs to write my name, they're going to have to write the right one. So they're going to know they're talking about Ace Michaels because they're going to have to spell my name. And that was a mistake because now, years later, and first off, I never thought I'd be a guy in my 50s still called Ace. But years later from that decision, I'm still like having explained to people like, no, 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 you don't spell it like that. Sorry, you don't spell it like that. Sorry, you don't spell it like that.
And
Anyway,
see, now you remember me, right? You think I'm just not, I did it on purpose, sweetheart. So how you doing? That's what you
exactly,
should say.
exactly.
Welcome to my world.
Right. So as they say, so then enough about me. So tell me more about you.
Oh, well, no. It was cool to know about you. Well, we talk. It's so funny that people know each other or an acquaintance with each other for years and
Mhm.
really never sit down and chit chat.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a tend to the generation that we're in. I literally feel like I saw people move further and further away from communication. Yes, we do have social media, but I think in my generation, I've seen people move further and further away from actually, when I was a kid, man, the chat room meant we were sitting in the room chatting. That's what that's what it was,
It was
and
like
none of
$2 a minute, so it was taboo. $2 a minute causes your
oh
mom and dad
yeah.
to go nuts. So
Yeah. Well, remember if we're both of a certain generation. Remember if somebody said they were going to meet you at the library, for example, they
hmm
said they'd be there at 12 o'clock, and you
right,
didn't have a phone, you didn't have a way to check if they were like 5 minutes away or 6 minutes away. There was none of that. So you would go to the library and you'd probably wait 15, 20 minutes. And if they didn't show up, you figure something happened, then you'd go do something else. You wouldn't
exactly.
see your friend again until, you guys had the next class together, or a week may go by even, and then you'd say, hey, I went to the library that day and I didn't see you. Oh man, I got there at 12:45. Oh, well, I was there till 12:35. Oh, well, we missed each other. Oops. And
Right? It
nothing like
wasn't no
now.
person. It wasn't no personal. It wasn't so personable.
Yeah, and
Because
yeah,
we
nothing like
knew
now.
how to be more independent back then. It came from more of an independent generation because we had to be. It was when women were getting their equal rights, which means that they didn't have to deal with not having a job to pay their own bills or
That's
asking for money.
right. Hey, did you ever hang around the Hollywood scene? Like I used to work for a casting director, so I had a job where I would have to dispatch artists for him. Like if they had a casting call, then we had to get on the phone and we had to call like 300 people and leave a message on either their pager or their voicemail to make sure they got to the casting, right? So
Right?
I remember, and this is why I asked you about the Hollywood thing, because I remember a time when all the actors had a Thomas Guide Maps book in their
Yeah.
car,
Oh, yeah.
and that was the
Yep.
only way you were going to get anywhere. Like you had to know how to read a map, and
Exactly.
if you didn't, you were just out. No GPS. You had to learn to read the map, bro.
That's called independence. It's called using your mind to get where you want to do. It's one of those work things. Most people don't want to work, so they want to make it convenient, which Google Maps makes it convenient. But at the end of the day, can you work for what you want?
Right. That's a
It's
good point.
mentality. It's the mentality. You have to again change the system.
Yeah, and speaking of that, now let's talk about this. The event is something called Humanity.
Yeah,
What is the actual
humanitarian
title?
day. It's Humanity
Humanitarian
Day.
Day.
Yeah.
I like that. I
Yeah, I
do.
know, huh?
It's got a good ring to it. Humanitarian Day. So is
Yeah.
this the first one? Is this the first Humanitarian Day in this year of 2020?
For the Talk San Diego network, we're first time sponsoring it with the Talk of Ghana. So take a check it out.
Wow.
There's lots of going on with the Kofa Annan Foundation and building again uh, food waste management systems and different industries for the global network world and the domestic world, our own country, which we desperately need systems and infrastructures to build humanity. Because again, we're into humanity, right? And the business of keeping humans human, because we
Yeah,
like humanity.
this sounds
Positive, Ace, positivity.
yeah, no, this sounds like a fabulous event. Now, I would imagine it's hard to turn away vendors when you have to explain to them that they're not humanitarian enough, but that's another probably show.
What now? See, now you're judging instead of scaling. You need to scale humanity
Okay,
and
yes,
not
let me
judge it.
scale. Let me scale. Okay, so I've heard people say the statement that you said earlier that we need more humanity, but I'd like to get an explanation from your opinion. Why do you say that? Why do we need more humanity?
Well, because as if you read our timeline with the Talk San Diego network or just anywhere in the network, we're always disconnected, but from our humanity by race. So we're always
Mm.
um,
Oh my
defined
God. There
by
you
wealth.
go.
You know,
There you
there's
go. Mm.
there's all kinds of stuff. There's divided by politics, right? Or separated by religion. You can't love your son if he's gay.
Right,
Like, come on.
right.
Um, that's separating from your humanity, and that's from you. That's your mom. That's your dad. People. That's your family. That's your blood. Um, subjugated by sexuality. If you are this way, you can't go into heaven. Like, you're not a
Preach,
judge. You're not
preach,
God.
preach.
So,
I love it. I love it.
but that's all humanity. And if you don't disconnect yourself or separate yourself, divide yourself, subjugate yourself or classify yourself, you're just human.
Mhm.
So then you scale. You have to scale, not judge.
Right. Tell me more. I'm all ears. So, what is the goal of your organization then? You want to just make people aware that they need to be more human, or is there some money raising involved, or what's going on with it?
Well, again, we're building, there's always different aspects to humanity, could have different subdivisions and more of this and more of that. Again, I want to build creations of economic structure. So I like, $1 million to thanks for volunteering, help people out that way who volunteer their time for community, give them 1 million bucks for thank you to volunteer and bring them over and throw some more money at them. There's different ideas and creations that we're building and got all the strategic plans going and action plans and building all the tools. So yeah, as we build this day for humanity and hopefully get some mentors and some more partners. You're going to partner up with us. We're going to work together on humanity, right, Ace?
I'm not partnering up with no white folks on nothing, man. Black Lives Matter. I'm shoot. I ain't doing no partnering. I'm staying in my zone. No, I'm kidding. Um, yeah, maybe. Let's see what's up with. But I still don't understand all the details. So I want to know. Number one, is it a actual event, or are we talking a virtual event? Is it a meetup group, or is it an actual real like
Right
people
now,
gathering?
because of the COVID-19 anyway. So there's only way we could build on humanity is virtual at this point in time anyway. Let's get people to communicate better virtually online and see the images of positive
Mm-hmm.
images and positive videos rather than this uh, plague on society where both parties are just hating on each other and destroying humanity for one and all. You know what I mean? It's not good, or it's good against bad right now. It has nothing to do with anything more than what kind of humanity and society wants for the future. Do you want a bad society or do you want a good one?
Hmm. Hmm. Now, you guys, you couldn't have your event, for example, with everybody wearing designated masks and staying 6 feet apart. Or just it's not that kind
Well,
of event. It wouldn't work.
it starts in Ghana, so we'll have to fly you out to Ghana, and the passports have been restricted
Yeah.
and stuff. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it happens though. I mean, people do have events. Like I was just
this
curious,
is just
Um,
our first year, so where are we going to be in 50 years?
exactly, exactly. I was listening
There's
to
no, we can't grow humanity. Hello, common sense,
yeah,
Ace.
I was listening to National Public Radio like literally yesterday, and they
Uh-huh.
had an interesting story on about powwows and indigenous people powwows, and they were saying that they're doing virtual powwows this year, and it's a big deal in the
Are
indigenous
these
community. And I'd never thought of that. I was like, wow, how would that work? But I guess,
Are
people,
they doing the peace pipe?
I don't know. That was why I found it interesting, because how would you navigate that if you can't get the
Like
people together? How would you?
like the Olympics when they bring the torch through. Are they doing that?
I I don't know. I don't know how you would do that. Well, I guess it would be interesting. That's a good question. What would be interesting would be to do the Olympics with TikTok, so that you could pass a virtual pipe. I mean, not, that's a Freudian. Sorry, no, sorry,
Pass
folks.
the torch, body. No, okay.
I don't blaze up during the day unless it's Wednesday, but no. So that would be a cool way to do it. Is have everybody do their virtual torch passing. That might be a kind of interesting
Interesting. Yeah, huh?
thing.
See?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, it's Native America. You always pass the peace pipe in a lot of different uh, cultures. So it's up to, why did they think Spain got tobacco? Because, the Indians shared.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So, okay. So, when is the event? How does one get more information about it? How does one sign up for it or register, or what needs to happen?
Well, June 30th is the event.
Okay.
You go
So,
on the
literally
Talk
right
of
around the
Ghana.
corner. Hold on.
Yeah, I
Today
know.
is the 25th. We got 5 days before this happens.
That's
Woo!
fine.
Excited.
No big
Okay, good.
deal.
Good. Yeah.
Humanity
Yeah.
happens every day. Just because you celebrate it one day doesn't happen. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen every day. Hello.
True that. Okay. I like that. Yes. Okay. So, June
So
30th is the day.
you could miss a day. It's like happy birthday, as long as you get it in.
Right. Okay, so I'm ready for that. So June 30th, and then we're gonna go to a website, or we gonna, how do
You
we,
gotta go to the Talk of Ghana. The Talk of Ghana.
nice, nice. And you're gonna send that link to me so that we can share it on the show and get the people
Yeah.
directed there. That's awesome. And are there costs
Or you could
involved?
just go to America's #1 show and then go to the Talk of Ghana. Do that way too.
Okay,
Ask Google. It's
okay,
not hard. Google tell you.
yeah, or yeah, that's good. Okay, and are there costs involved? You're saying go to
No,
Google to find that out, or it's no cost?
no, we won't charge you until we want your money, but we know there's no need to charge for humanity. We get charged arm and a leg for everything else.
Exactly. Thank you for that.
The nickel and diming everybody, pinching a penny. Oh my gosh. If Lincoln could only charge sexual harassment.
Wouldn't it really, like, we're in a pickle. This is something else. Okay, so Mesha, so we want to be part of this. We know we're going to go to the links that you directed us to, and so on and so forth. What's on the table in the big picture? What happens next for all your endeavors? What can we look for in 2020? We only got 6 months left now. We're already down to the last 6 months.
I
Dun, dun,
know,
dun.
huh? Well, we have the Talk of the Heartland Building. Go to the, again, with the building the network, building the industries, putting the ideas on paper so we could better display them for those who want to see the paperwork. That it's
Nice.
always, it's something that you can put it in your head, but can you put it on paper in order to communicate it to actually get developed?
Right. Exactly.
So.
Turn
So
it.
we're doing a food waste management system ambassadorship program to the UN. We're doing industry for, want to do the Jimmy Carter Social Injustice Fund, which is 100 grand to those who are in need of a lawyer, because, we rely heavily on the public defender system. And of course, every system out there has to be reformed or circumnavigated, because again, it's all in the training. Got to retrain the system to work for humanity and not against it.
That sounds like a good program. What was that called again? I love the wording of it.
The Jimmy Carter Injustice Social Funding, something of that, like kind of like the student loan system works.
That's awesome.
Everybody's qualified for it, and when you get your money, of course, because a lot of people, have some falsehood in them, and takes a criminal to make a criminal in the police department. So
Mm,
you have to I know
that's how good
you
that
just
went
have
down.
to be
Mm.
aware of the humanity systems and the system that again, you can't get mad at the system that trained them to do that.
You know what? Since you're so educated, I want to ask you. This has got to be my last question because we're going to run out of time. But since you are so educated, I've been wanting to ask somebody this question. Has been like, what do you think of these police who are now walking off the job? And you know why they're walking off the job. But what do you think of that? Like, how do you just say, well, I'm just walking off. I'm just not going to be a cop anymore because you're telling me now I'll get charged for, well, forget it. Take my name off the list then. What is
Thank
that?
you. Thank you for being honest. Can't be mad at people for being honest with themselves, right?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. But you
Let
also
them walk
swore
off
to
the
an,
job and let them learn another way.
well, you also swore to an oath though, which I guess you're not being loyal to that oath if you're choking people out on the job. So I
Right,
guess
but that's
you
it,
know.
it's also, again, it's your training. They're trained to do that. They're trained to expect the worst out of people with color, or Asians are more silent. No, they're human. Violence comes in all breeds and all races. It's at least, again, they're being honest with themselves. You don't know where their police force came from. You don't know where they're located when they're putting that badge down. All that it's down, and let them go and let them learn something different. Stop hating.
I
Stop
like
hating. They're growing.
I like what you said in that, they've been trained. And so I now understand the argument. If you trained me to do something and then you say what I'm doing is wrong, but that's how you train me. That'd be like you train me to be a soldier and I go out now and I'm doing soldier work and you're telling me I'm doing it wrong. Well, then I don't want to be a soldier because I've invested all my years into this training and I did everything you said I'm supposed to do. So what's the problem?
Right. So what? And then when you make an oath, understand what your oath is. It's, even you think that you want to be respected, and even God's not respected. So just humble yourself into being honest with yourself. And again, don't hate people who are honest with themselves. Let them go. Let them
Wow.
grow.
That is what's up. Hey, it's the Ace Michael Show, guys. My guest today, Mesha, and I hope she'll come back and do the show again. I'm saying that like out loud right in front of her so that I can plant that seed. But hey, if you ever want to be on the show, you know how to do that. Mesha, how do we stalk you on the internet? We want to follow you on the social media. What do we need to do?
I'll go to America's #1 show.
And that's it.
Ask Google.
That's it. Hey, Ace Michael Show. You know what I say at the end, man? Live the life you love. Love the life you live. Thank you.
Thanks, Ace. Take care of you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Mesha.